Welcome to Study Smart, the weekly show for wine students who want to take their wine education to the next level. I'm your host, Gill Gordon Smith, and in this episode we're breaking down another important wine region. With exam strategies and techniques to help you reach the next level in your wine education, this is Study Smart. Hello and welcome back to Study Smart. Today we're travelling to the south of France, one of the largest and most diverse wine producing areas in the country. So stretching along the Mediterranean coast from the Rhone Valley to the Spanish border, this broad area includes Languedoc, Roussillon and Provence, and together they produce everything from crisp whites and pale dry rosés to powerful Mediterranean red blends. For much of the 20th century, southern France was associated with high-volume, inexpensive wine, and that reputation has changed. Better vineyard management, lower yields, improved site selection, and more careful winemaking have helped producers create wines with greater quality and regional character. This region is also important because it produces both PDO wines, which focus on place and traditional regional styles, and large volumes of Pays d'Oc, IGP, which gives producers much greater freedom in grape varieties and labelling. So as we travel across the region, keep asking one question. How do climate, geography, grape varieties, and human decisions influence the style, quality, and price of the wine? That's the key to thinking like a WSET Level 3 student. So why does geography matter? So southern France follows the Mediterranean coastline from the western edge of the Rhone Valley to the Spanish border. And the three main regions are Languedoc, Roussillon, and Provence. And although they share a Mediterranean climate, they are not identical. The coastal vineyards benefit from the moderating influence of the sea. Inland vineyards may be planted on hillsides or in foothills, where greater elevation and cooler nights can help preserve acidity and freshness. Those fertile coastal plains can support higher yields and larger scale production. The poorer, rockier hillside sites tend to limit vine vigor and yields, so often producing smaller berries and more concentrated fruit. The Mediterranean climate creates the opportunity for grapes to ripen, and the local geography determines how that opportunity is expressed in the final wine. The major influence across southern France is the warm Mediterranean climate. Summers are hot and dry, winters are generally mild, sunshine is abundant, and the growing season is long. So these conditions make ripening relatively reliable and reduce fungal disease pressure because there is usually limited rainfall during the growing season. The later ripening varieties such as Grenache, Mourvedre and Carignan can reach full ripeness, producing wines with ripe fruit, fuller bodied and often higher alcohol. Late ripening varieties such as Grenache, Mourvedre and Carignan can reach full ripeness, producing wines with ripe fruit, fuller body and often higher alcohol. The main challenge here is drought, so long periods without rain can create water stress that can reduce vine growth and lower yields. Growers must manage the vineyard carefully so that stress concentrates the fruit without stopping ripening completely. So for WSET Level 3, make the link clear. Warm, sunny conditions lead to reliable ripening, higher sugar levels, fuller body, riper fruit flavours, and often higher alcohol. Wind is another important influence. In Provence, the Mistral blows south through the Rhone Valley towards the Mediterranean. Further west, Languedoc and Roussillon are influenced by another wind, the Tramontane. This is a strong, dry wind descending from inland mountains. So these winds dry vineyards quickly after rain. They improve airflow through the canopy and reduce the risk of fungal disease. They can also help moderate temperatures during hot weather. Very strong winds may damage young shoots, but overall they're highly beneficial to growers. A useful exam link is simple. Dry winds reduce humidity and disease pressure, helping growers produce healthy grapes. Southern France contains a wide range of soils, including limestone, clay, schist, gravel, and sand. So rather than memorizing every soil, think about how soils influence the vine. Poor, rocky hillside soils usually restrict water and nutrients. This limits vigor and yields and often leads to smaller berries and more concentrated flavours. The deeper, more fertile soils on the plains can support higher yields and are often associated with larger volume production. Site selection also matters. Higher vineyards and cooler slopes can slow ripening and help retain acidity in this warm climate. Climate provides warmth. Soils and site help determine concentration, freshness, and style. Human decisions are essential in a region where grapes can ripen very quickly. Bush vines remain common in hot, dry sites because their compact shape shades the fruit and can reduce water loss. The trellised vineyards allow better canopy management, airflow, and mechanisation. The timing of harvest is critical. If you pick too early, flavours and tannins may be unripe. Harvest too late, and sugar levels may become excessive, producing higher alcohols and reduced freshness. Growers also use altitude, slope, and aspect to find cooler conditions and improve balance. Natural factors create the possibilities, but it's the human factors that determine whether those possibilities become balanced, high-quality wine. The warm climate allows traditional Mediterranean grapes and international varieties to ripen successfully. So Grenache contributes ripe red fruit, body and alcohol. Syrah adds deeper colour, black fruit spice and firmer tannins. Mourvèdre needs quite a lot of heat to ripen. It contributes colour, structure, savoury complexity and ageing potential. Carignan is a historic variety of southern France, and when yields are high, it can produce simple wines. But old vines with naturally low yields can give concentrated fruit, fresh acidity, firm tannins, and savoury complexity. Sanso contributes perfume, freshness, and soft red fruit character, particularly in rosés. Blending allows producers to balance the strengths and limitations of each variety. So Grenache supplying the fruit and body, Syrah adding colour and spice, Mourvèdre providing structure, Carignan bringing acidity and savoury character, and Sanso adding fragrance and softness. The Pays d'Oc IGP provides flexibility and value, and there is a very large volume of Pays d'Oc IGP wine produced. So these rules are more flexible than PDO rules, so producers can use a broader range of grape varieties, including Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Syrah. Many wines here are labelled by grape variety, making them easy for consumers to recognise and understand. The warm, dry climate supports reliable production, while mechanisation and large vineyard areas can help control costs. Pays d'Oc IGP has encouraged innovation and is strongly associated with approachable, varietally labelled wines that offer good value. Remember the exam phrase? IGP equals flexibility. PDO wines place greater emphasis on origin, traditional grape varieties, and regional style. The rules define permitted grapes, yields, and production methods. These restrictions help protect the identity of the appellation. In southern France, PDO red wines are commonly blends of Mediterranean varieties rather than single variety wines. So remember the contrast. IGP focuses on flexibility and varietal labelling. PDO focuses on place, tradition, and defined production rules. The Languedoc is one of France's largest producing wine regions. It produces both high-volume Pays d'Oc IGP and increasingly high-quality PDO wines. Lower yields, better vineyard management, and improved site selection have transformed the region's reputation, and it now produces some of France's best value premium wines. Corbière produces Mediterranean red blends based on varieties such as Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, and Carignan. The wines are generally fuller-bodied, with ripe fruit, moderate to high tannins, and the potential to age. Fitou produces red wines. These are typically robust and structured, with concentrated fruit and firm tannins. Minervois also specialises in Mediterranean blends. There's a variation in altitude and a variation in the soils, and this creates different styles, with the higher sites often retaining more acidity and freshness. Picpoul de Pinet provides an important contrast. It's near the Mediterranean coast, and those cooling sea breezes help preserve acidity. The wines are dry, crisp, and refreshing, with high acidity and citrus or green fruit character. Perfect with oysters. Roussillon lies close to the Spanish border and is surrounded by mountains on several sides. It has a hot, dry climate, and many vineyards are planted on poor, rocky slopes. These conditions naturally restrict yields and can produce concentrated grapes. Grenache, Carignan, Syrah, and Mourvèdre are important for dry red blends. The region is also known for fortified sweet wines, although the central WSET Level 3 theme remains the connection between heat, low yields, and concentrated wine styles. Grenache, Carignan, Syrah, and Mourvèdre are important for dry red blends. The region is also known for fortified sweet wines, although the central WSET Level 3 theme remains the connection between heat, low yields, and concentrated wine styles. Provence is best known for those pale, dry rosés. The Mediterranean sunshine allows grapes to ripen fully, while coastal influence and careful harvesting help producers retain freshness. Cinsault and Grenache are important in many rosé blends. The gentle handling and the limited skin contact help create the pale colour and the delicate fruit character associated with the region. Bondolle is Provence's flagship appellation. Its warm climate allows late ripening Mourvèdre to mature fully. Bondolle red wines are deeply coloured, structured and age-worthy, with black fruit and savoury flavours. The appellation also produces serious structured rosé wines. Think of Bondolle as the more powerful and age-worthy side of Provence. For the examination, don't simply list facts. You need to explain the relationship between natural factors, human choices and wine style. So if asked about climate, explain that hot, dry summers and abundant sunshine lead to reliable ripening, riper fruit, fuller body, and often higher alcohol. If asked about winds, explain that the Mistral and Tramontane reduce humidity and fungal disease pressure. If asked about site, explain that altitude, slope, and poorer soils can lower yields and preserve freshness or increase concentration. If asked about classification, compare PAYDOC IGP with PDO. IGP provides freedom in grape varieties and varietal labelling, while PDO protects regional identity through stricter rules. If asked about blending, explain what each grape contributes rather than simply naming the varieties. So here are the key takeaways. Southern France has a warm Mediterranean climate with hot, dry summers, mild winters, and abundant sunshine. Heat and a long growing season allow Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, and Carignan to ripen successfully. Drought is the major challenge, while the Mistral and Tramontane winds help reduce disease pressure. Poor hillside soils and higher sites can reduce yields, increase concentration, and help retain freshness. PAYDOC IGP offers flexibility, a wide choice of varieties, and varietal labelling. PDO wines emphasise place, tradition, and stricter rules. Corbière, Fitou, and Minervois are known for Mediterranean red blends. Picpoul de Pinet produces crisp whites. Provence is famous for pale, dry rosés, while Bondolle is known for structured, Mourvèdre-based wines. So in every WSET Level 3 answer, connect the climate, the site, the grape variety, and the human decisions to the style, quality, and price of the wine. Now, our Study Smarter topic this week is when learning feels hard, that might be a good sign. So welcome back to Study Smarter. So far we've explored memory, forgetting, focus, cramming, mixing up topics, how visuals support memory, and why asking better questions deepens understanding. We've talked about why sleep matters and why movement can help your brain learn. So today we tackle a surprisingly uncomfortable truth, and here it is. Good learning does not always feel easy. So sometimes when learning feels harder, you're actually learning better. Now that sounds completely wrong because most of us assume if I'm struggling, I must be doing badly. But learning science tells us something fascinating. A little difficulty can actually make learning stronger. And this idea is called desirable difficulties. And yes, that does sound like something invented by a slightly cruel scientist. But the idea is simple. When learning requires effort, retrieving information, switching topics, spacing practice, explaining concepts, your brain actually works harder. And that extra effort can strengthen your memory and your understanding. So think of it like an exercise. It's a workout that challenges your muscles and creates adaptation. So learning works similarly, not because struggle is automatically good, but because the right kind of challenge helps growth. Now let's bust a myth. The myth is, if study feels smooth and easy, I must be learning well. Not always. Easy often means familiar, and familiar, as we know, can create the illusion of progress. But effortful learning often sticks longer. That said, this is not about making your study miserable. Confusion is not automatically productive. Overwhelm is not useful. The goal is challenge, not chaos. So here's your experiment for this week. Try one technique that makes learning slightly harder. Close your notes and retrieve from memory. Mix up your topics instead of staying with one. Explain a concept aloud without prompts. Space your revision instead of repeating it immediately. If it feels harder than passive reading, that may be exactly the point. So here's your reflection challenge. When study feels difficult, do I assume I'm failing, or could my brain actually be doing the real work? Because better learning is not always the most comfortable learning. Sometimes challenge is a sign that growth is happening. So see you next week for another wine region and another Study Smarter tip. Thank you for listening to Study Smart. If you're ready to take your wine education to the next level, why not visit the Italian Wine Academy at italianwineacademy.org. Don't forget to tune in next week when we'll be exploring another important wine region. Until then, chin chin with the Italian wine people.